Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, Text number 16. Lokasvayam shreyasi nashta drishtir yorthan samiheta nikama kamaha anyonya vairasu kalesha hetor ananta dukkham chanaveda mudaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Due to ignorance, the materialistic person does not know anything about his real self-interest, the auspicious path in life. Anything about his real self-interest, the auspicious path in life. He is simply bound to material enjoyment by lusty desires, and all of his plans are made for this purpose. For temporary sense gratification, such a person creates a society of envy, and due to this mentality, he plunges into the ocean of suffering. Such a foolish person does not even know about this. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word nashta drishtihi, meaning one who has no eyes to see the future, is very significant in this verse. Life goes on from one body to another, and the activities performed in this life are enjoyed or suffered in the next life, if not later in this life. One who is unintelligent, who has no eyes to see the future, simply creates enmity and fights with others for sense gratification. As a result, one suffers in the next life, but due to being like a blind man, he continues to act in such a way that he suffers unlimitedly. Such a person is a mudha, one who simply wastes his time and does not understand the Lord's devotional service. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Naham prakashaha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha mudhoyam nabhijanati loko mam ajam avyayam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my eternal creative potency, Yogamaya. And so the deluded world knows me not, who am unborn and infallible. In the Katha Upanishad it is also said, Avidyayam antare vartamanaha swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha. Although ignorant, people still go to the blind men for leadership. As a result, both are subjected to miserable conditions. The blind lead the blind into the ditch. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So in this chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we are reading Lord Rishabhadeva's teachings to his sons. Lord Rishabhadeva is an incarnation of the Lord, and we saw in the previous chapter about, or even chapter before that, about Lord Rishabhadeva's appearance. And in today's verse, Lord Rishabhadeva is advising his sons Lokaha swayam shreyasi nashta drishtihi. Lokaha refers to common people. Swayam, they are themselves. Shreyasi nashta drishtihi. About what is Shreyas. Shreyasi nashta drishtihi. They are not able to see. They have nashta drishti, nashta. They have lost their sight. They have become blind. Yaha arthan samiheta nikama kamaha. And for this purpose, because they are nashta drishti about Shreyasi, they have so many plans, so many samiheta nikama kamaha. They have so many varieties of desires in their life. Samiheta nikama kamaha. And when such desires come about in a person, and there is a society of such people, where everyone is having unlimited desires for enjoyment, then what happens is anyonya vairaha. There will be competition, there will be envy, there will be jealousy among all of them. Anyonya vairaha. And because of such anyonya vairaha, vairaha, they have to somehow navigate through the society and achieve their unlimited desires. And they take so much hardship for that. Why all this hardship? Rishabhadeva is saying, Sukhalesha hetor. Sukhalesha. Lesha sukha. Small, insignificant quantity of pleasure. For that purpose, all this big enterprise of activities. And finally, what do they get? Ananta dukkham. The material world is made in such a way, there is so many miseries. Ananta dukkham. And all this is going on. Chanaveda. They don't even understand that this is what's going on with them. Because they are mudha. They are so foolish. Due to ignorance, nashta drishtihi, materialistic person does not know anything about his real self-interest. Shreyasi nashta drishtihi. The auspicious path in life, Shreyas. He is simply bound to material enjoyment by lusty desires. Samiheta nikama kamaha. And all his plans are made for this purpose. Yahartan samiheta nikama kamaha. For this purpose. For temporary sense gratification. Sukhalesha heto. Such a person creates a society of envy. Anyonya vairaha sukhalesha heto. And due to this mentality, he plunges into the ocean of suffering. Ananta dukkham. Such a foolish person, mudha, does not even know about this. Naveda. Naveda mudaha. These are very strong words of Rishabhadeva. But actually it's an accurate description of what's happening to a conditioned soul in the material world. It's actually out of compassion for the living entities. The Lord, His representatives, present to us a picture of what's happening to us in our lives. Very rarely we get to see that because we have no time. We are all very busy. So much duties we have, so many plans we have, so many aspirations we have. Prabhupada tells the story of a rich man, a businessman in Calcutta. And suddenly he was diagnosed that he is having some terminal illness. And the doctor said, you will live only for 3 months. And when that rich man heard that he was going to live only for 3 months, he caught hold of the hands of the doctor and said, please, can you make it 12 months? I've invested so much money, started new businesses. What will happen? 3 months is not enough. Please make it somehow 12 months. You see how? He hopes that the doctor can make it. That's another foolishness. But anyway, even if the doctor makes it, and all his investment and all the success he will get, and he'll leave everything behind and go empty. That is why the Shastras describe the hopes and aspirations and ambitions of a conditioned soul. They are so foolish. And so that is why a strong word is used, mudha. Sometimes people ask, why did Srila Prabhupada use such strong words? The Shastras use such words to shake us from us, to jolt us. You know, if somebody is sleeping so hard, you wake up, you tell. You won't. Sometimes you have to wake them up, and then hopefully they will get up. In the same way, the conditioned souls, we are lost in the material world, not knowing what's happening to us. Ananta dukkham, anyonya vairaha, sukhalesha heto. Very small pleasure that we get, which will go away, and to get that, ananta dukkham. So much difficulties one has to go through. And so much competition and envy and jealousy in the society and animosity between each other. Sometimes within the family, sometimes within brothers and sisters, sometimes within the parents and children. This is what is happening. So, the Shastras and the Lord, like Lord Rishabhadeva, is giving us a picture of what is happening. So, there are many places in the Shastras, this material happiness, which we are all mad after. The conditioned souls are all mad after this. Here, Rishabhadeva has used Lesha Sukha. Very small happiness, insignificant, temporary happiness. In other places in the Bhagavatam we find the description, because material happiness is so much glorified and celebrated in this world, especially in Kali Yuga. Right? With so much intelligence, big scientists, big engineers, they'll discover some very complex theories and make devices and gadgets, and so much intelligence went into that. And after doing all that, finally they will use that for what? Oh, presenting some happiness of a man and a woman enjoying sukhalesha heto. All the effort they put in just for sharing and experiencing some sukhalesha hetu. That is why Shastras have described in different ways. Prahlad Maharaj says, Yanmai tunadi sukam hi tucham. Yan maitunadi sukham. The happiness that is glorified in the material world between a man and a woman. Prahlad Maharaj says it is a tuchha, very insignificant. Tuchha means very low. You see? As intelligent people, we must think, an intelligent person must think about quality of happiness. What is the quality of happiness that I am looking for? Is it the same quality of happiness that even animals get in this world by gratifying their senses? Or can I get trained? Can I get enlightened to experience a higher quality of happiness? You see, in modern days, people talk about quality of life. Why many people go to foreign countries and all that? Because the quality of life there is very good. You have clean roads, clean places, all those kind of things. So that's how quality of life should be better. That's the aspiration of people. Quite a reasonable aspiration. But we should do further analysis and see quality of life leading to what quality of happiness? Is it the same tuchha, lesha, sukha quality of happiness? Or something really more exalted, more sublime? Prabhupada used these words, exalted, sublime. These words mean something of a higher stature than the same kind of sensual pleasures that even animals enjoy. Is there another kind of unhappiness apart from sensual pleasure? Or we also as human beings, we have another set of senses, similar in one sense to animals, and we also engage in the same kind of sensual pleasures? Or are we capable of looking for and experiencing a higher quality of pleasure? Is what we should look for. I'll share with you something which I think I have done but rarely. When I was in college, studying here in Bangalore, would go around in a cycle. And at the traffic junction, this happened a few times. And soon after that, I came in touch with Krishna consciousness. At the traffic junction, there's a red light and so many vehicles line up and you also line up. And one big car comes. And then in the big car, you look carefully and there's a big man sitting on the back seat. Comfortably sitting. Obviously, he must be a very rich man. Look at the car he has got. Big car. And then he has got a chauffeur driving. He's not even driving himself. There's a driver in front. A simple man gets a small salary. This I'm talking about 40 years back or more. So India was really, not as it is now. Drivers were not so paid so well. So poor driver, and here behind sitting a rich man. And when the red light comes, the pedestrians pass, right? That's how. And the green light is for the pedestrians. And a lot of people are crossing. And then I would notice, as it always happens, there's one young beautiful girl walking across the road. And then the driver is looking, after all human weakness, he's looking at the beautiful young woman passing in front of turning his head. And then instantly I would look at the big man sitting behind. He's also doing the same thing. Then it used to strike me with all the richness and all the, he must be a smart guy. Made so much money, has such a big car, is able to employ a driver, go around, look at him, must be such a wise guy. With all the wisdom and smartness and making money, what is he attracted to? Because what we are attracted to, that determines the quality of our consciousness. What are we ultimately drawn to? What enchants us? What is that which we relish? That's quality of pleasure. If there is no improvement in the quality of pleasure, what have we achieved then? That poor simple man and this big rich man. What is the real difference? So, that is why Prahalad Maharaj says, Yanmai tunadi sukham hi tucham. Is actually tucha. In the Shat Goswami Ashtaka also, there is similar description about the Goswamis, our Goswamis. All of them came from very aristocratic families. Tyaktva turdama shesha mandalapatim shrenim sada tuchavat. You see, the same. This is all about quality of pleasure. Tyaktva turnama shesha mandalapatim shrenim. Mandalapatim shrenim. This means an aristocratic class. Shreni means a class, a category. Because in the society there is always a category of aristocratic people, like the big man sitting. You see, aristocratic. They were all the Goswamis were born into such families. Mandalapati Shrenim. But Tyaktva, they gave up. Tyaktva Turnamashesha Mandalapati. Turna means very quickly. They all heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in their lives. Very quickly they wanted to give it up. Tyaktva Turnamashesha Mandalapatim Shrenim Sada Tuchavat. So, we must remind ourselves so that our senses being pulled towards sense gratification. As spiritualists, we have to do this. Shamo, Dhamma, Tapas, Shaucham. Otherwise, determination for self-realization will not come about. So there is a certain amount of struggle, and so we have to analyze this rationally, intellectually, so that we become more and more determined. It's essential. So, Shastras say it is Sukhalesha, Tucha. And another characteristic Prahalad talks about, coming back to Enmai Tunadi Sukham Hi Tucham, that verse. Another characteristic of material happiness, sensual happiness is, Prahalad Maharaj see how our acharyas have all carefully analyzed these things for our enlightenment, for our education. Trupyanti neha krupana. This material happiness, na trupyanti. You will never be satisfied. We will run after it again and again and again. Addicted to it. You see? Trupyanti neha krupana. Bahudukka bhaja. And because of that, he is never satisfied and he has to run after it. and because of that he encounters unlimited miseries. Here also, ananta dukkham tripyanti neha krupana bahu dukkha bhajam, and he experiences bahu dukkha. So in the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna explains, there's another way of analyzing. See, different ways the Shastras have analyzed. Krishna says, Kamaistai hritagyana prapadyante anya devataha. Krishna says that due to kama, lusty desires, they surrender to other devatas and so on. And later on, Krishna says, he has used the word Kamaistai hritagyana. Here, similar words, nashta drishtihi, shreyasi nashta drishtihi. They are blind. Hritagyana, their knowledge is gone. Hrita, harishyati, hritaha. So, hritagyana, Krishna used that word, hritagyana. Later on, Krishna explains 3 verses later why he is saying they are hritagyana, hritagyani's. Because antavattu phalam tesham tat bhavatya alpamedasam. Because this material happiness, another characteristic is, it is antavat. It is going to end. What is our aspiration? Our aspiration is that we want to be happy forever. This sensual happiness will not give us that antavat, ananta sukha. It will only give ananta dukkha. So, like this, different kinds of analysis are there. There is Yamunacharya's shloka where he uses about, he tells about this kind of sensual happiness. Sushtunishtivanam. He says it is despicable. This sense pleasure is despicable. I spit at the thought of sense pleasure. And another place, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Hanta Hanta Vishabhakshanato Apyasatu. This is especially true for us as spiritualists. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, for spiritualists, enjoying sense gratification and indulging in sense gratification is actually Vishabhakshana. It is like drinking poison. So, all of these kind of instructions are there in the Shastra. And hence, sense control, this is very important in spiritual life. Because unless we do sense control, we will not be able to understand spiritual truths. Sense control and these kind of austerities, that's called tapasya. Asceticism, tapasya. So, tapasya is part of Krishna consciousness, but sometimes people don't get to Krishna consciousness but only revel in tapasya. That's another kind of a catch. That's why Krishna says in the Gita, you see, this is how Bhagavad Gita is so important. These things are very clearly analyzed in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi. So there are tapasvis in the world, but a yogi is better than tapasvi. Let's see why it is and how Prabhupada explains this. Tapasvi, so there are tapasvis in the world. A yogi is better than a tapasvi. Jnanibhyopi mato adhikaha. Jnanibhyo api adhikaha mataha. In my opinion, Krishna is saying, Krishna's opinion, we shouldn't take it lightly. A jnani is also better. A yogi is better than a jnani also. So Krishna is placing yogi at a higher level. A yogi is better than a tapasvi. A yogi is better than a jnani. Next, Karmibhyascha adhiko yogi. A yogi is better than a karmi. So Krishna has placed a yogi above tapasvi, jnani and karmi. And then, after saying this, very nicely Krishna concludes, Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Therefore, be a yogi. And very nice translation of Prabhupada. Because that Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi. Jnanibhyopi mato adhikaha. Karmibhyascha yogi. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. And how does Prabhupada translate? Very nice translation. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. Tasmat yogi bhavarjuna. Because the reason is, a yogi is somebody who is trying to link up with the Supreme. That is the most important thing. Yoga means, how does Prabhupada define yoga? The science of one's relationship with the Supreme. Such a beautiful definition of yoga. Yoga is the science of one's relation. It's a science, okay? It's not a sentiment. Oh, I believe and I may feel. No, it's a science. It's a science of one's relationship. We have a relationship with the Supreme. We must know who we are. We must know what the Supreme is. We must know what the relationship is. All of this is yoga. So sometimes tapasya they practice, asceticism, but they won't know who we are. Asceticism is supposed to lead to self-knowledge. When it does not lead to self-knowledge, that tapasya is imperfect. Jnana is supposed to lead to surrender. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Cultivation of knowledge is supposed to result in surrender. Tapasya should result in self-knowledge. Jnana should result in surrender. And karma, should result in developing Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, shramayeva hi kevalam. If one practices dharma, all the different occupational duties, that is karma. Dharmasvanushtito pumsa vishvakshena katasuyaha notpadayed yadiratim shramayeva hi kevalam. If it does not arouse attraction to the message of the Lord, shramayeva hi kevalam. This is how Prabhupada concludes in this purport. Prabhupada says here, asceticism without self-knowledge is imperfect. This is referring to tapasya. Ascetic means tapasvi. Why Krishna is saying yogi is better than a tapasvi? Asceticism without self-knowledge is imperfect. Empiric knowledge, jnana, without surrender to the Supreme is also imperfect. And fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. Shramayeva hi kevalam. So you see how Srila Prabhupada is explaining all these things in the purport. We should read Prabhupada's books very carefully. There is so much treasure in Srila Prabhupada's purports. We will miss out if we don't read scrutinizingly, carefully, attentively. So Krishna first of all puts yogi as, so in other words, tapasya is meant for leading to becoming a yogi, because you understand self-knowledge, who I am. And jnana is meant for surrender. That's how you relate with the Supreme. And karma is meant to develop that attraction for the Lord. and his messages. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna, therefore become a yogi. After saying that, Krishna says, yoginam api sarvesham. There are many kinds of yogis also. Yoga is also another big band. First he said, become a yogi, come to the band called yoga. Become a yogi. But in the band called yoga, there are many stratas. Yoginam api sarvesham. Madgater antaratmana. Madgatena. Madgatena means devoted to me. Tadgatena manasa. Yoga dhyanavastita stitihi. Tadgatena means devoted to him. Here it is madgatena, devoted to Krishna, devoted to me. Madgatena antaratmana. You see, it is the inner self. Atma itself is self. Antaratmana, deep inside. This is the yoga which is the highest, Krishna is saying. So, in Prabhupada talks about sincerity. Sincerity is to, in English there is a nice word, soul searching. You go deep inside. What am I inside? What am I doing all this for? Even as devotees we should reflect, because we are an institution. And in an institution there is wealth, hierarchy, power, all these things. So we can get caught in all these things. So every now and then we should reflect, what do I want? You see, when we see people coming to the temple, a lot of people come to our temple and they stand before the deity. When they are doing that, they are actually going into the antaratmana. That's why coming before the temple, coming in front of to a temple and before the Lord, nicely dressed, they're actually coming in touch with their antaratmana. To some extent. And when you bow down, it's another opportunity to come in touch with our antaratmana. Anthakarana, deep inside. So, yoginamapi sarvesham madgatena antaratma. Antaratmana madgatena. Deep in his heart, he is so devoted to me. Shraddhavan. Full of confidence, full of faith. Bhajate mam. Who renders service to me. Same yuktatamo mataha. He is the best yogi. In the yoga band also there are many. The best of all the yogis is one who is like that. So, like this, Krishna is teaching and the Shastras are teaching, so that we don't remain mudha. We understand the value of life, the purpose of life, and not just get caught up in ananta dukkham for sukhalesha heto and create anyonya vairaha. And all kinds of complications come about because of envy and politics and duplicity, and complications come about. And so we don't remain nashta drishtihi. So that's the purpose of these instructions. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.